Hello and welcome to episode 105 of the Take a Pull podcast with Andy Cummins and Declan Carroll. We're bringing you the Irish Guineas weekend from the Curragh, featuring obviously the 2,000 Guineas, 1,000 Guineas and the Tatts Gold Cup. Dec, I didn't see you last week, but how are things? All good with you?
No, we took a small break and gave the boys a chance to come back. But yeah, I'm good, Andy. Keeping well.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, we do have a special guest, as promised, taking time out of his busy schedule, which we very much appreciate. Please welcome to the show trainer George Murphy. George, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you, lads?
Super duper, yeah, absolutely, and very much appreciate you joining us here by call today. So anyone on YouTube, unfortunately, George is taking us by call, but it's fantastic to have you on the show, George. And you're a very exciting weekend ahead with obviously White Birch. So just while we get into it nice and quick here, what attracted you to White Birch at the sales? I know you picked him up, I think it was 70,000, son of Ulysses, and he's gone on to deliver Group 1 glory. But just tell us a little bit about sourcing the horse and what he's done for you.
Yeah, so to be fair, he was recommended by Roger O'Callaghan. He's a very good looking horse, very good mover. So look, we were very keen to get him when we heard about him, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and obviously, you've come back now to the scene of the success last season when winning the Tatts Gold Cup. We hadn't seen him since until a really good reappearance in the Mooresbridge Stakes last time out. So would you mind just talking to us a little bit about the hold up that he had and how he's progressed from that, and then just talk about his prep run in the Mooresbridge. Were you happy with it?
Yeah, look, last year it was just a couple of little small problems. He had nothing serious that just came at the wrong time. So we kind of made a decision towards the end of the year that we just put him away and focus on the following year. With the Mooresbridge, we're delighted with his reappearance. He ran a lovely race. Colin thought he took a little bit of a blow, so he should improve from it. Look, we're delighted. Obviously, when they're off the track that long, you're a bit concerned about what might be, but he'd been training very well over the winter, and we're delighted with the run.
Perfect, and you're all set for a rematch with Los Angeles. Are you confident you'll reverse the form? Or I know it's always formidable coming up against Aidan O'Brien.
Oh, I don't know about that now. I don't know about confident, but look, we're certainly looking forward to it. And look, Los Angeles has the form in the book. He's a very, very good horse. So I wouldn't say confident, but we're looking forward to the race.
I think I've backed the anti-post for the race twice, George. But would the Arch be the long-term plan with him?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think the conditions, you know, it was definitely a plan last year and it didn't work out. So hopefully it'll be an option this year.
Have more on, so.
I don't know about that.
Do you think he could be a better horse over 12, George? I know he tried it in the Derby as a 3-year-old, but now that he's a nice, mature 5-year-old, you think his prospects at 12 furlongs would be positive?
I think so, yeah. I think, look, he obviously ran a very good race in the Derby, and he's top class form at 1.25 miles as well. So we'll have to try it again at some stage. Yeah,
no, 100%. And then you've another runner on the over the weekend, Crosshaven. I do note he was. I could be mistaken here now, George. He was in the 2,000 Guineas until last week. Am I correct saying that?
He was indeed. Yeah, he was. Lovely horse. Big horse, big good-looking horse. He's taken a bit of time to fill into his frame, but looking forward to getting him started.
Awesome, and that's the 5:55 maiden on the 24th, I believe. We'll keep an eye on him. So hopefully he can pick up a few nice races for you guys along the way. While we have you here, George, any type of horses to follow? Any like 2-year-olds or unexposed horses in the yard that you're looking forward to seeing throughout this summer?
I'd say that's a horse actually that to keep an eye on. And there's another horse, a 3-year-old unraced horse called Maestro Mark. He'll be an interesting horse, hopefully.
Maestro Mark. Okay, and who's he by?
He's by Tamayus.
Tommy is. Oh, one of Tommy's favourites. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on him. And I know you had a winner there last week in Love Soleil, so at Killarney, which I know a few followers would note that you guys are formidable down there. You seem to have a great time at Killarney. How's he came out? How's the horse came out of the race? And do you think there'll be more wins for him this season?
Yeah, I'd hope so. She's a nice filly.
Apologies.
And,
yeah.
You're right. She should be winning more races throughout the year. Hopefully, please God.
Fantastic. And is there something? Is it just something in the water down at Killarney that attracts you guys down there? You seem to have a fantastic record down there every season.
I don't know. It's been a very lucky place for us, and look, we do send plenty of horses down there. It's a lovely track and a nice place for owners. So, yeah, it's been lucky for us for sure.
Lovely. And look, we couldn't leave you off without talking about a legend of a racehorse, New Mill, who obviously won a champion chase. Possibly the reason why Cotto Star went staying chasing after that champion chase. Any memories that you'd care to share about New Mill and what a fantastic 2-miler he was?
Oh, he was a brilliant horse. I was only a kid at the time now, so it was a great buzz for me, but it was a great time, and I was a super horse.
Yeah, no, unbelievable. Terrific 2-mile chaser around in such a vintage time as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Dec, anything you want to add?
No, I'm happy with the comments on White Birch now. So
yeah, well, we did. We fancied him for the Arc last year. I think he would have had a great opportunity, but he's back as a 5-year-old this year, and we'll see how the 3-year-olds progress. But you would have to be confident that he'll be bang there in Group 1s again this season. And very best of luck to yourself and the team, George. I hope he runs a blinder for you guys, and I think he's got a great chance there on Sunday now if he's come forward from that Moores Bridge.
Thanks a million, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, George.
Really appreciate it, George. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Bye now.
And a big thanks to George for joining us there. So, Dec, you're confident now that White Birch is going to win the Arc, are you?
Yeah. Nearly as confident as it was last year.
Yeah, I think it was Blue Stocking that won the Arc last year. I don't think he'd have been that far out of it. Like, it wasn't, the 3-year-olds didn't necessarily blow the world alight, did they? So
no, I actually backed him in the Derby. He fell out of stalls, and I think he finished third or fourth.
Third or fourth. He came home well, it's a gorgeous horse, gorgeous looking horse. By a very underrated stallion in Ulysses as well. I won't bore people, and I know there's a 2-year-old maiden coming up with very little form to go on, so I will inevitably have to for maybe the next 2 minutes or so, but I promise it won't be that bad. Right, Dec, as you said, only the 13 or so races to get through, so we're going to cover the whole Saturday card here. It's a Thursday evening we're recording. So I think it's a 9-race card, which you were upset about, Dec, because it's
Jesus Christ,
kind of woke, isn't it? All this,
like, where are they getting this from? Is this to do with the World Pool, or
it has to be World Pool related? But you've 3 maiden, or you've tried 2 maidens, do you? Yeah, you've 2 maidens on. Like, I don't see why you need to have 2 maidens on a card like this, but anyway,
no, you probably shouldn't have a maiden on.
Yeah. I can kind of understand the 2-year-old maiden, but
but they've Friday and Sunday as well. I suppose they've 2 Premier handicaps, 2 absolute minefield, 2 7-furlong handicaps. It's now look, if they were all not to 100 hurdle,
be a 3-hour podcast, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be complaining.
Yeah. Do you know what, actually, before we get started, Dec, because we were chatting off air about it, and a lot of our fans are obviously very invested in the horse himself, but Countdana has his first entry of the summer. And I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. We weren't going to talk about it, but let's talk about it. Why not? Entered up at Limerick and looks like he's going to go off top weight. How are you feeling about the season ahead before we get started?
I'm quite excited about the season ahead. I went down to see him a couple of weeks ago. He looks great. Like he really did look well. And by all reports, he's doing really well. We're having very little rain. He's going to be, it looks like, if this keeps up, he'll get his ground all summer. We're going to work back from the summer plate at market raising, which is very, very exciting. To have a horse to run in a race like that, 100 grand handicap, like just to be taken there by him, like it's another day away. It's amazing, really, for a horse that costs as little as he did. People like us don't buy horses that take you to these places. So really excited. Can't wait for next Thursday. Hopefully, look, all going well between then and now. He runs. He may take a run. I imagine he will, but he's probably well handicapped over hurdles as well. So just going to enjoy him all summer, and hopefully, we get the market raising and he keeps going. He hopefully takes us back to Cheltenham in October. And, we're living the dream with him, really.
Living the dream, yeah. No, it's awesome. It's fantastic. And is market raising one of those places where you have to like duck down to get into the bars or the doors? It's not like Uttoxeter, is it? I don't know. I'm trying to think of the geographical location of market raising. Answers on a postcard. It's
very east. Can't actually point anywhere to stay in market raising. I'm not sure there is anywhere to stay in market raising.
Wild Pine, it's a Wild Pines Park. That looks fine. There's literally just green around it. It's just like, it's not. I've just looked it up here.
Yeah,
it's not good. I'm just looking at A1103. Like, it's not good when the road has 4 numbers after it. I wouldn't say. I'd say that road is that's pretty rural, all right. But look, best of luck with him. I hope he starts the season off nicely at Limerick, and you have all the success in the world with him going back for 100k handicap. We'll have to get him on the show if he wins that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll bring him out for a drink myself if he wins that. Look, come here. Like, I think you're really dreaming, thinking about winning it. Just to go, I think, like, he's a Saturday horse now. Well, if he gets there, he still has to get there. Like, we need a lot of luck still. He's probably going to have to win again. But that you have to, you have to set targets, and they should always be just slightly out of reach, in my opinion. You might get there if they are. And look, we're going to work back from it. And if things do go to plan, we go there. Another race on ITV. As I said, like we're absolutely living the dream.
Brilliant. That's exciting. Another race on ITV. Fantastic. Yeah. Their viewership goes up dramatically.
Race on ITV, maybe we'd be lucky enough to get a running a race on RTE.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be a million miles off. Get them into Ferry House or get them to Galway.
You've Galway there as well. Which
you got the Blazers, don't you? You'll get them in the Blazers.
Yeah, it's going to be a week later, but
all right,
we're trying to think outside the box for them and give them the best chance to win a race. And I think the track will really suit him. It's on Irish Oaks Day. Yeah, hopefully he gets rattling fast ground. And look, it's growing up, it's always a race that would have heard me out talking about, and it does feel like quite a prestigious race to me.
Yeah,
even though, it's certainly one of the most prestigious jump races on the British calendar during the summer. So look, we're very fortunate that we're able to talk about it, that we can actually work back from it.
It's a distinct possibility.
If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. He's he owes us absolutely nothing. We've lived the dream with him. But it might work out. We might get there. And we'd be very grateful to the horse and to Ross and all the team down in Knockles if he does. So we're looking forward to the summer ahead.
All fingers and toes and anything else I can crossed for yourselves. And always keep your targets a little bit out of reach. I'm going to remember that one. Might write that one down. Might write that one down on my hand for going forward. Right, so the AvenueBloodstock.com Irish EBF Colton Geldings maiden over 6 furlongs is the opening race on the Saturday. So as we were talking offline as well, Dec, Ryan Moore's chosen to go to Brussels instead of Kansas. I don't know. I've never been to Kansas. I've never been to either place actually. Kansas is a bit of a flyover state, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been in Brussels.
You've been in Brussels. That's just it's full of business and 9% beers, is that, or am I?
Oh yeah, I went to I flew into Brussels, but I actually stayed in a place I can't remember, it begins with a D. I went over to see a window supplier. There's a really big window profile manufacturer in Belgium, and yeah, we had a tough experience now with the beer.
Yeah, it's not easy. I say below the
this stuff. This was, oh Jesus!
It's on a different level, isn't it? It's on a different level. Yeah, the Belgian beers, it's notorious. You can only, it's designed to only have.
I don't think you're supposed to drink them like Guinness.
I think you're literally supposed to get home from work and crack open a singular beer. I don't think it's designed for binge drinking.
No, certainly not. Like, Jesus, I had a headache for 4 days.
Yeah. Well, will Brussels just win a maiden and that will be the end of them? Will it be like beers, or do you think, Ryan Moore's chosen them over the experienced Kansas, which is, you could argue, is a tip in itself. But what do you think?
I don't think Kansas hit the line very well over 5 furlongs the last day. Looking through the field, there was nothing really caught my eye. So I will be on Brussels by Whitman Bassett. And obviously, as you said, Ryan Moore has chosen Brussels. But look, if Kansas hit the line better the last day, I probably would be with him. But yeah, look, I'm not one for getting involved in punting in these races, but I'd like to see something exciting.
Yeah, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? It's a this what happens with the 2-year-old maidens. The likelihood is you are going to see a nice horse in this race. I thought one that might run okay, just going on pedigree, obviously by Memas, is the Slattery horse there. Cisterna. So Memas is a notoriously good 2-year-old stallion. He was a fantastic, tough 2-year-old himself. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a few quid for him knocking about. As we get closer to this race, he does have a nice speedy pedigree. Was, I think, 65,000, I think, as a yearling. So, black type performers on the dam side. Wouldn't surprise me if he ran well enough. Maximum Skepticism. That's a great name. A colt by Churchill. Interesting there for Joseph O'Brien, expensively bought.
I might see him go hurling.
You might see him go hurling, yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then you have Slowdine for Jesse Harrington, who trying to put a 4th place run behind him on his debut. Wasn't a bad run behind Green Sense though, and that form has been boosted in the meantime by Green Sense running so well in Group 3 company last week at Nice. So I still think that Brussels, I think it's a tip in itself that Ryan Moore has chosen him over at a debutant.
I probably would have gone with him if the jockeys were the other way around. So.
Yeah, but he would have been probably 4 to 7 if the jockey were the other way around. I'd say if Ryan was on one with experience.
I think I'd be siding with Brussels if Ryan was on Kansas.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Brussels myself here, but I think there's gonna be better 6-4 favourites you can probably back this week at the same time. With that said, the Albasti Equiworld Dubai Orby Stakes listed race over 1.5 miles is next. Trust your instinct too. I'd imagine George is going to be hoping wins this race and wins it well, because White Birch and Los Angeles took care of him, even though he had a fitness edge last time out in the Mooresbridge Stakes. That form sets the standard by a considerable margin, but he does have to give weight away to the whole field. He's carrying 9.12, so he's giving £5 and upwards away. In most cases, far more than up to £10, £5 to £10, depending on the horse. See, Ross O'Sullivan has one in here, Drawn to Dream, who I thought was interesting as well. A decent L filly in Germany. She was then transferred to the Jamie Osborne yard, and I for some reason thought she was a stayer. Like if you go back, I went back and watched her races. She travelled into that 1.6 mile Ascot handicap like the winner, and just didn't quite get home. That was behind Bellocchio, and because she ran so well, they just kept running her in staying races and over 1.5 miles. I don't think she stayed. I think Ross is running her at Ross is running her at 1.5 miles here. Which is probably the max, but like they're running over 1.6 miles and 2 miles and all last year. I think she might go okay. Be an interesting one to look at. But I think Trust Your Instinct's definitely your most likely winner here, Dec. But who do you like?
Yeah, look, I agree. He absolutely sets the standard. But he does have to give weight away. Like, he's to give £10 to John the Dream. He is a Group 3 winner though, and he was second. He was only a half a length or a length second to Jan Bruegel at the Curragh last year. Jan Bruegel had a really, really good season. I know he might be beaten on reappearance this season, but you know, last season he beat everything front from. Did he go to the Melbourne Cup?
No, remember they took him out. The vets disqualified him. They said, "No, you're too well handicapped now. Those legs won't work." But sorry,
they come up with that one. Yeah. So look, he took all in front of him last year. Dream to Share. She was listed winner in Germany. She gets the £10. I think, I can't see her going close. There's another listed winner from Germany in here, Magical Hope, Paddy Toomey. I think she may want rain. I think that's
100%.
With soft in the description, but the one I take a chance on, and I'm hoping the stable. I'll be saying this a couple of times tonight. I'm hoping the stable will have turned the corner. They had a winner recently enough, and it's Jessie Harrington's See the Boss. She won a Group 3, staying on well at Naas last May. She's disappointing in Cork this year, but you can easily put that down to stable form. She gets £10. She's only £9 inferior to Trust Your Instinct. So, you know, if they have turned the corner, and I'm hoping they have turned the corner, because there's a couple I like on the card from that yard, I can see. I can see her being tough to beat now.
It's tough to beat. Okay.
If the stable has turned the corner.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And she was, look, they thought she was good enough to run in the Arc last year. Now she didn't really run any race, but like
she ran in the Vermoy, and she was.
I know she ran in the Arc. She was behind Blue Stocking. Unless the Vermoy is dead.
No, that was different. The Vermoy. She ran in. Now she was webby, but I would always forgive a run in France just to spoil the race. Like the other races, more so than the Arc, as they usually go.
You're dead right. Sorry, it was the Vermoy. I just saw Blue Stocking. Yeah, no apologies.
Yeah, but like in France, they can go very, very steady, and they can race quite tight, and a long shot in particular, to go into that fall straight. And I'd always forgive a run in France. I could always be prepared to put a line through.
You've always beaten that drum.
Yeah, I've always said it. Like you can just put a line through. It's look, slow, steady paces anywhere in the world get good horses beat. They do it a lot. Yeah. They do it more than anywhere else. France.
Yeah.
And the last day, look, I think she's a good excuses coming in here. The last day, the stable just hasn't been in form at all. They've been running really, really poor. So if they have turned the corner, she might be a little bit disrespected in the market, and getting that £10, she could be tough to beat. Yeah,
the £10 is the big factor for sure. But I just think the 1.5 is probably Trust Your Instinct's trip. He's only ever ran over it once, and it was a winning effort beating Kinesiology at Leopardstown on Irish Champions Weekend. I think
a great day for the Tap.
I think that was the next best of the Tap, wasn't it? I think we were both on him as well. That was a great day for the Tap. Yeah, I think we got a Trixie or a Yankee up or something. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, booming bets in September of last year is what we've been reduced to here. But I think Trust Your Instinct, to be honest, I'd be disappointed if he was beat, but I think the price is going to reflect that, even with the weight concession. Right, the Tulfarris Hotel and Golf Resort Handicap. Have you ever been, Dec? No?
Oh, he's at a wedding in Tulfarris.
Already? It was nice?
Yeah, it's nice, yeah.
Oh, very good. Right, 10 furlong Premier Handicap. Premier Handicap's only worth 29,500 to the winners. It doesn't feel very Premier.
On a World Pool Day.
On a World Pool Day, on a classic weekend as well, yeah. Anyway, look, that's a story for another day. Right, a lot of kind of dual purpose merchants in here. Like, it's hard to believe looking at Nürburgring, and you see that he's only a 5-year-old. Like, he feels like he's been around forever now, and what a horse to own. Like, we didn't speak about San Salvador in the last race, a 9-year-old that's won on the flat, over hurdles and over jumps. Nürburgring's not too dissimilar. rating of 93. You were screaming Irish national for him, and here he is in a 10 furlong Premier Handicap on Guineas weekend, which is interesting. But look, you still might be wrong. He might just be one of these versatile types. He might be a cross country type in time. This is very competitive, Dec. I don't know where to really start. Well, I fancy an outsider, but who do you like?
Does his are they walking back from the Cesarovic
with Nürburgring?
Yeah,
it's the Cesarovic or the Ebor, probably, isn't it?
He couldn't. He did.
You could do both.
The Cesarovic, what more money? The Irish Cesarovic.
Yeah, the Irish Cesarovic. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
He wasn't beat Farron the last year.
But you need to work back from that because, like, surely you'd be giving him a break, and you could bring he's been off for what, 2 months, 2.5 months maybe.
And then look, with that late September, he could be having, he could have a midsummer break, but you start losing those pounds now.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you get them off your back for sure. Declan McDonough taking the ride, so he's off your list anyway for Saturday. Himalayan Heights. I imagine Himalayan Heights is going to be your favourite. I'm just going to put that out there. Can't be certain, but he was impressive the last day at Leopardstown. Very unexposed 4-year-old. A lot to like for Colin Keane and Ger Lyons. Mashur is interesting based on his you're going back a long time, but I remember he won a Group 3 here, beating Al Rifa by 4 3/4 lengths. Now they let him away on the front end, and nothing was coming from behind that day. But he's slipped all the way down to a rating of 96. Now he did run the handicap on the last day, but he missed the start, and he didn't look the most ruly, but he kind of stuck to his task on softer ground that would have been ideal. He's slipping down to a very, very dangerous rating at 96 now. Definitely one you need to keep an eye on, but I digress anyway. Dec, who do you like?
Yeah, he's one I did think quite a lot of in the past, but he's not one on my list tonight. There's a few that caught my eye. Aeronautic, he was impressive winning a rated race over 13 furlongs last July. Possibly didn't stay to 14 last time out. 4-year-old. What we were over 12 or 10 here, are we?
We're over 10, yeah. So you don't want a high draw, probably, which probably rules out Mashur. But anyway.
He's 14 and Mashur 17.
Yeah.
Look, Longmorn was well fancied to run a big race going to in the Irish Champions weekend. He was just an absolute no-show. He is a 9-year-old. He'd be worried, has he just given up the game? But look, he's back this season. He was a good winner of a 9 furlong race last July. That was off 94. He's £2 above that now, 96. Upper Q. We got my Upper Q, Andy Oliver. Is that the one you sent me earlier, actually?
No, I've sent you a few of these. Andy Oliver with Team Valor. I don't know what the story is. There seems to be a lot of them now. But we'll get to that at the end of the show.
I'm only just noticing it's Team Valor now.
Yeah.
He was a winner of 88 in April. It was well held in a listed race the last day, but he possibly had excuses there. You'll always find an excuse in a flat race. Only a 4-year-old. But the one that I just kept coming back to was Zochman. And that's not just because I love handicap hurdles, but he was a head second in the Cork Derby on his last flat start off 91. He's in here off 88. Can you explain that?
They do get a bit of relief in the off season. There's a few in here with just having gone to Cancun, I suppose, and coming back a little bit fatter. I don't know, but it does happen.
Head second in the Cork Derby, his last flat run last year. I was off 91. He's £3 lower. He's won over hurdles since, I think it was at Navan.
Right.
It might have been there that day. He has won off 85 on the flat, and the jockey takes off £3, so he's effectively running off at 85 that he ran off, and he's £3 below his last flat run when he was a head second.
Right.
Lots
to like is what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm just gonna check his draw now. Like 6.
6. I'm more on. Yeah, the draw can be pretty big at 10 furlongs and a mile and a half. Probably more so at a mile and a half, but 10 furlongs wouldn't be far behind. Yeah, he would have to have a great chance. That tempers my kind of enthusiasm on Mashore, but there is a horse in here that I think could run really, really well. That's now he is a 7-year-old, so he does have that going against him. An ex-Ross O'Sullivan horse, I think, as well. Mr. Rango, yeah. He was highly tried in two races over hurdles during the winter. He was beaten by Jasmine DeVoe at Navan, but that was a maiden hurdle that worked out extremely well. It had the likes of Work Ahead and the Enabler in it. It was a good maiden hurdle, and he ran a pretty eye-catching race. They ran him in the Grade 2 Moscow Flyer then. He was dead last behind Salvador Mundi, 200 to 1 shot. The year before that, he was a good winner of a Leopardstown Handicap. Now, that was on heavy ground off 79. But he wasn't beaten far down on heavy ground again by Crystal Black, who couldn't stop winning races last year. That was over a mile at the Curragh. And he had a nice enough return behind Evening Blossom at Limerick on pretty testing ground. Now, so the question you're going to have is decent ground going to be okay for him, which is a legitimate enough question. But given his likely starting price and, the progressive form he was showing on the flat last year, if you assume that, he probably just wasn't good enough to trouble the likes of a Cheltenham Festival winner and an Aintree Festival winner on, over hurdles in 2 starts, and assume that his handicap run was a pipe opener last time out, he could be a big price. And, you might get 4 or 5, you definitely get 4 places. You might get 5 or 6 depending on where you have your bet. So I might have a little bet on Mr. Rango at a huge. I'm expecting a big price. I'm hoping he's a big double figure bar price. I'm going to have a little tentative bet on him, and it's going to be Zoffman, who you sounded confident about that for yourself, is it?
I suppose the more I kept talking and pointing out the facts, the more confident I got. The fact that he's 3 pounds below his last flat run where he was beaten ahead. And he's won over hurdle since. I think he could be. It looks like he's running off his effectively run with the claim. He's running off his last winning mark on the flat. Like, he kind of looks thrown in.
He's competitively weighted for sure. Yeah. You'd have to give him a chance. Okay, on to the Greenlands Stakes as my camera gets that little bit lighter. Dec, this is one of the best races of the weekend, in my opinion. I know you're probably not a big fan of sprint racing. I love a good sprint.
But a fan of winners.
Yeah, you're a fan of winners. All right. Well, this is there's so much intrigue in this race. I think you have the likes of Vespertilio coming back to sprinting. I think she's a 7 furlong filly. But anyway, we have Easy in a similar position coming back to sprinting. Very good filly in her own right. Tried 7 furlongs the last day, but back to where she's probably comfortable. You've got the European debut of Storm Boy, who was trained in Australia and is now with Aidan O'Brien.
Do you remember I sent you? I sent this horse to you a couple of months ago.
Which one?
He made his debut in a handicap.
Storm Boy. Oh,
do you remember?
That's probably I do remember. Yeah, I do remember that.
Australian racing is real or not? Some people love Australian racing. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to Australian racing. There seems to be no pattern. It's just group ones on every weekend. There's different handicaps in the different states. And then I looked up and seen this fella made his race car's debut in a handicap. Like, what mark did he run off?
Unless the Racing Post or whoever Irish Racing, unless they didn't have the data. Sometimes I don't know, but yeah,
no. It's like getting a mark in a barrier trial or a point to point.
It's probably or how much. Sometimes it can happen in Ireland, but usually it's by the price of the sire, by the price the horse cost. Like a median auction maiden in theory is a handicap. But
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
But at least there's a a structure to it. Your dad's class at getting winners. That's how you.
Yeah. I just think Australian racing is a bit like the
is wild. Yeah. Right, so he's Storm Boy making his European debut. My mate Alfie, who for my money is the best sprinter in Ireland and probably should have won last time out, but at 6 furlongs probably the best sprinter in Ireland at the minute. You've got Iberian in here as well. Lethal Levi, a fantastic horse too, and James's Delight, two very, very competent sprinters over from the UK, as is Iberian. His brother actually made a very stylish winning debut in St. Cloud last week, I saw, but it was over 10 furlongs, full brother. But anyway, this lad does shape like a sprinter. Grand Grey as well for Kevin Ryan, and then Big Gossy, basically the emperor of the Curragh at the minute, like loves the Curragh, legend of a horse. And if you take his win seriously, at the start of the season when he beat Officer, who's well fancied for the Irish 2000 Guineas, and Camille Pizarro, who was close up in the French 2000 Guineas last week, he'd have to have a right chance at a track he loves. But Dec, who's your fancy here?
Look, I don't know what to make of this Storm Boy. We're told that Australian sprinters are the best in the world. I don't know much about Australian racing other than they can run over 5 furlongs on a Tuesday and 2 miles on a Saturday, and you can all of a sudden be the highest rated horse in the world.
Fail the vet on the Wednesday.
Yeah, fail the vet on the Wednesday. And then you can run in a grade 1 handicap some weeks. I don't know much about it. It's not something that really catches much of my attention.
Right.
So I don't know what to make of this fella. He's not a Group 1 winner. You would expect them. You would expect a horse coming from a country where there's a Group 1 every day to have picked up one. So he hasn't actually won one yet. So I don't think we have any listeners in Australia actually. So I'm not sure.
We shit on their jurisdiction as much as we want, is what you're saying.
I know we have listeners in the States, but they get to you another day. Don't worry. No, I don't. A sprinter by Justify.
Yeah, he gets the odd sprinter. Yeah, he's got that's what makes Justify so
you
good.
Can be a 2 miler in Australia and run a sprint, I suppose. So,
yeah,
like this
lad could end up in the QE too by the end of the season, or the Arc.
He could end up in the Albert Bartlett.
What price the Storm Boy White Birch forecast in the Arc? Go request it quick.
Look, anyway. I think of the home team's best show, I might go with Easy. He's an unexposed 5-year-old. He's won on Go Down Heavy. I know you like my mate Alfie, and he's the highest rated in the field, but that might have been from you racked up 3 in a row.
He did, yeah.
And 2 of them might have been handicaps, and that might have been the way he got there. Grand Grey is an interesting one. It's a second run for Kevin Ryan. He was second on a stable debut in a Group 3 at Newmarket, and that was to a French rider. But I'm going to go with Iberian, and he was the Champagne Stakes winner in 23. He looked to have a troubled season as a 3-year-old last year, but he was second on his return at Newmarket as well. I think the spy catcher this season looked like he was coming back to you are.
I think he was very unlucky. He was hampered when he tried to make his
how would you get hampered in that race?
I don't know. He did. He ended up.
He ended hampered in Newmarket. It's as wide as it is long, and if you watch 10 furlongs long.
He gets bumped. He got bumped. He had to make his
challenge the flat
quick and twice. I think was it not Donny? No, I think it might have been.
Was it Doncaster? Was it?
It was Donny. Yeah,
they land airplanes in Newmarket, so they get hampered on the straight course.
He didn't necessarily hamper. I think he kind of ran around. It was a weird one. He almost like hampered himself actually in a way by bumping.
That's a new one.
He didn't keep himself straight. He didn't keep himself straight. But he quickened again, and he might have just got lonely in front, possibly, and he quickened again when he saw Spycatcher, possibly a little bit unlucky. But I'm just not sure Spycatcher how he'd go in a race like this. Like, he's a good sprinter, but I think there's some, like, I hold my mate Alfie in very, very high regard. Like, he's only turning 4. He's a gelding. He could be one of these sprinters that we just have around for 4 or 5 years, and he just starts racking up ones. I would forgive him the last day. I think if Colin wanted to win, he could have won, but there's a long season ahead, and it was also over 5 furlongs. I think he's a better horse over 6. I'd be saying my mate Alfie's probably my bet of the week, and I would actually have Iberian to follow him home in second. But I don't know. I might do this forecast for small money, but I really fancy my mate Alfie to win this. Stormboy might need the run. He might need 1.5 miles, as you were suggesting, given that he's from Australia. But yeah, I'm confidently with my mate Alfie here. I was nearly going to say my mate Mozzie, Jenny Mac. It's Iberian for yourself, is it?
Yeah, well, look, I just think the run the last day, after quite a troubled, he only 3 runs. He was last in the Guineas.
Yeah,
Newmarket, like, well last, but I think he hampered himself that day, and he was well beat again then. But he actually finished the season with a win on the all weather at Tuttle.
Yeah,
so,
that was nice return.
Yeah. Look, come here. Every win counts, doesn't it? No matter where they come. And I just thought he showed signs that he might be coming back to, and he might fulfill that potential he showed as a 2-year-old. Like Newmarket, that just could have blown his brains a little bit. They've obviously found a nice pot of Subtle. I don't know what it was worth, $3,000 or something. Get the confidence back. Unlucky the last day, and he might be another one who's just disrespected in the market.
Yeah, and the few things that the Brits can pillage these days, they don't take land anymore, but they do take Irish sprints.
Oh, they love a sprint.
Yeah, it's all they can take these days.
Listed group races, they love
sprints. Yeah, it's all they can invade these days. Right, the 340, the Tattersalls Irish 2000 Guineas Group 1, no geldings in brackets. I love that, no geldings. Right, so we've got what I think is a pretty star-studded field. I don't think we're missing too many milers. Obviously, we could have the winner in here of the 2000 Guineas, but he's Derby bound, ruling court, and I think that's getting back. That's why Justify is so popular. He can get sprinters and he get 1.5 mile types. It's his versatility. He can get turf horses, get dirt horses. He's an exceptional stallion, but anyway, we're not here to talk about Justify. We're here to talk about the 2000 Guineas. What do you think about Juddmonte having 3 runners? I can't remember the last time that happened. We're going to get a white cap? Are we?
We're going to get. So you go pink, green, and then white. Is it?
I think it's white. Yeah. Anyway, three very good chance that they have the unbeaten Cosmic Gear. Harry Charlton was kind of alluding to the fact that he wanted to run him in the 2000 Guineas after he won the fielding. That hasn't happened. They're coming here. He'd have to have a great chance. Field of Gold, I'm still of the opinion Kieran Schumacher got way too much abuse for that ride. May have brought it on himself.
Don't get me started on that.
That
was just the trainer showing his lack of class once again. I think now that he's been exposed over the last few years as a fella that couldn't try and ivy up a wall, it's coming out more and more. We're seeing a massive lack of class from him. I don't care. Like, I don't care if somebody's not up to the job, which I don't think that. I don't think the jockey wasn't up to the job. But if someone's not up to the job, you don't come out and publicly slate them. Or, I've heard people saying, well, if you're not doing your job, you get sacked. Yeah, but you're not publicly thrown under the bus. The trainer basically came out and admitted, while blaming the jockey, that he felt the horse needed further. He was a 10 furlong horse.
Yeah, he said he was 10. That's what I didn't get about it. He said, we'll look to step him up and trip. But then
so
you've been beaten by an exceptional 3-year-old. Like, it's not.
And he wasn't push button. So they found out in the race he wasn't push button because he's gone off favourite and then like in all, you know, he's a 10 furlong horse. He was traveling up. He might also have been going as quick as he wanted.
Yeah,
you know, like
Joe, what I almost compared it to, if you watch back the runs of Henri Matisse last season, and you saw him flat to the boards, off the bridle early in the railway, got up to win, and it was the same when he won his Group 2 over 7. But they rode him prominently in the National Stakes, and he got done for a turn of foot by Scorty Champ. Ryan Moore didn't obviously lose his job, but the similar happened in the Lagardère. He didn't have the pace to pick up late on in that race, ended up getting himself hampered, finished I think 4th. But then they bring him back, they get him, they hold him up in the Breeders' Cup Classic, they're getting him off the bridle early, they let him go through the gears almost like a nice manual car, gets up and wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile impressively. They do the exact same in the Irish 2000 Guineas, and they do the exact same in the French Guineas, and I'd imagine Field of Gold would be comfortable over a mile, but he's probably not the type of horse you hold on to. He's the type of horse that you probably, you start getting into your 4th and 5th gears maybe at the 3 furlong pole. Similar.
But like it early in a horse's career, it's so difficult to learn that about them as well, because
absolutely,
most times a horse is beaten, it's they hit the front too soon. Most of the time. So like that's probably against all your instincts, is to go too early, and then all of a sudden, because the trainer comes out and inflates him, and people have probably done their money on him, they're saying it was a bad ride, and if he's a 10 furlong horse, you go sooner on him, but like all your instincts are to not be in front too soon. And it's literally in a flat race like that, it's split second stuff where the winner's has got first run, but they might have gone at the same time, and he just wasn't quickening. Like the winner's going to the Derby now. So
the winner's exceptional. The winner cost £2 million, and he was there on, like, you could maybe argue he was slightly better positioned than the runner-up, but I wouldn't say it's the difference between winning or losing. It said it was probably coming to the boil. There was obviously controversy last season about a few of his rides. I thought Emily Upjohn had gone in the head, though, so a lot of the rides are based around her. I thought she was not the filly she showed at 3 and 4 last year, personally. And he got criticised for his ride, I think, in the Pretty Polly, when Blue Stock and caught her late. But he was caught by a bleeding arc winner, like, so. I think he's been a bit unlucky, personally. But and all the best to him. I think he's a nice guy. He's interviewed well. He's taken it well. A bit unlucky again in the French Guineas, but we're getting very much off topic here.
Yeah, but another thing, Andy, I'm really not into this coming out and explaining me ride and pandering to all these.
Just do your job. That's it. Just get on with it.
Like I wouldn't come out and explain myself just because you've done your job. Sorry about you. Don't gamble if you're not able to lose. Like, it didn't happen. I'm sitting on an animal traveling 40 miles an hour. Like, give us a break, man. I'm not coming out to explain myself. Pushing Murphy came out to explain a ride. I wouldn't have done that. I don't think it's good for the game. It's just feeding these trolls online that probably don't have a breeze what they're talking about.
Yeah.
There was another one. There was something else. Oh, there was the ride on Richard Kingsgate, and this race was getting analysed for days, I don't know what people want to do. Him harder. He's probably trying to keep the horse probably hanging. Coming down.
Oh, that was the Linkfield Derby trial. Yeah. That was the
horse probably hanging. He's probably trying to keep him straight, and people saying, "Oh, we're riding the other horse more." And then you people saying, like, Mikel Barcelona shouldn't pat the horse down the neck in the police. Nobody mentioned the time Davy slapped the horse on the arse when he dropped his whip with his hand to win the Tri-Town. Can't believe it.
It's too far. It's too far back. Right, we better cover the 2000 Guineas. We have some avid listeners here as we approach 50 minutes. But look, I'm having fun, so I don't know about everybody else. Right, we got 3 Juddmonte runners and we've 3 Coolmore runners, and we still have Scorty Champ, Roshabar, and Hot as Hell in here as well. So, well, it's not Coolmore, so it's Comanche Braves, actually Donegal. So, well, it's Coolmore, it's not Ballydoyle, is what I meant to say. I personally think this is a fantastic renewal of the 2000 Guineas. I think this is going to be form you could follow comfortably throughout the season, probably more so than Newmarket. I know you fancied a big outsider here, Dec, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, well, first of all, Field of Goal, I think he probably wants 10 furlongs.
If the trainer literally said it, so, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, look, obviously, I've been big on Green Impact and Hot as Hell. I've been talking to you about what they were both going to win this summer. Hot as Hell hasn't actually run yet. He was a non-runner in the Poulons. Stable form is a worry, but he's a Group 1 winner, and the form has worked out so well. We've seen Delacroix win like quite a fast horse, I thought, in the old Derdenstown. So the Derby trial at Leopardstown the last day. So I don't know. I probably gonna back Hot as Hell, but I will take a chance on an outsider in Comanche Brave. Definitely at his best on good ground. Be hoping it doesn't rain. He was second to Henri Matisse in the. Is it a Bally? No, it's not the Bally Sex. What was it? Guineas trial.
It was just a Guineas trial. Yeah, I don't even know it has a name. But
at Leopardstown back in April, he won his maiden on good to firm ground. Yeah, I think this horse could run a big race. Like Henri Matisse beaten that day, as you said to me before we came on, he wanted every yard of that. But he's gone on and he's won the Poulons, and like the Comanche Brave gave him a good race. I don't know, is he going to improve stepping up? He'll need to go close, but when I'm just a little unsure about the form of the yard with Hot as Hell, I'm going to have a small each way bet as well. When you're saying he's an outsider, Andy, what sort of prices?
Comanche Brave trading at 50 to 1 at the minute.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So when I said it, yeah, wasn't messing with you. He's a proper bar. Yeah, and but out of Ishfana, who I was talking about, was the Jersey Stakes winner for Aidan. Well, it could have been Joseph, but we don't know. Joseph under Aidan's license, maybe.
Who rode this one?
Oh,
was it Donegal?
No, it wasn't Donegal. It would have been 2011, I think. I want to say it was 2011, 2012. Maybe it was 2012, actually. I've absolutely no idea who rode her. It could have been Shamey, but I don't know. I'm
gonna look that up while you're telling me.
You look it up. It was probably either Shamey or Colm O'Donoghue, because it would have been. It definitely wasn't Joseph, and it definitely wasn't. I think Joseph O'Brien was the first string jockey in 2012 or 2011. I'm not a million miles off. I'm not with those guesses anyway.
Shamey.
But it was Shamey, okay. And yeah, she was an outsider as well, 25
20 to 1.
20 to 1, yeah. I didn't even back her. I don't know why I remember that. But anyway, so there we go. Comanche Brave. Cosmic Gear, as I said, big chance, out of passage of time as well. Some fantastic Juddmonte pedigrees on show. I'm not going to go through them all though. Scorty Champ, I thought shaped like a sprinter in the 2000 Guineas. Possibly overpriced on his national stakes effort, beating Henri Matisse, who I think might have benefited from a hold-up ride that day. No one was to know. It's just on future evidence. But the horse I'm going to go with is Officer for Aidan O'Brien as well, and Ryan Moore. Winner on debut at the Curragh, second or third to Big Gossie. Funny enough, we were talking about earlier. You wouldn't have thought that's classic form on soft ground. I thought that he was maybe a little bogged down in the ground that day. Travelled into the race really well. Looked like he was going to win at one stage, just didn't quite see it out in the soft ground. Camille Pizarro was second, he ran really well in the Poulon as well, and he made no mistake then in the Tattersalls Stakes, Officer, beating Curragh Wood very, very comfortably indeed. I thought he was actually quite impressive that day. He's trading at around 7 to 1. If Ryan Moore's chosen him, I'm kind of surprised he's kind of sitting at that price at the minute. I think he's got a fantastic chance. You could very comfortably give a chance to nearly every runner in this field, though. Like when I say this is a hot race, like if any of these slipped into a handicap later in the season off top weight, I'd be having it all on. But we'll see what happens. But it's off. I'm going to take Officer, and you're going to take Matchy Brave at a big price tag, yeah.
Look, I'm back in Hot as Hell
as well. Okay.
Of course, I'm back in Hot as Hell.
Yeah.
I'll probably, and if he doesn't win, I'll back him next time out. I thought he would have gone to the Jockey Club. But he's come here, and I'll be backing him next time he runs if he doesn't win. But yeah, I'm gonna have a small bit on Comanche Court. That was all. I
Very
couldn't.
good. Nice. And I'm gonna bail on Expanded, who I actually backed into 2,000 guineas. I thought it was just a very poor run, but hopefully he doesn't do a Roderick O'Connor on it, who bombed out in Frankel's guineas, and then went on to win the Irish 2000 on his next start. But we'll see what happens. The Queen Bet Emerald Mile Handicap, great name for a race. The 1 mile handicap on the card deck. We better press on here, or else we'll be here all night. Just the 19 runners. One of my better bets on the card, probably my second or third best bet on the card would be second best bet, I'd say. Serialize, number 13 for Jesse Harrington.
You're not worried about stable form?
I was just about to say, I know you've mentioned the stable form, but I'm gonna trust it, trust the process. Tipped her at Irish Champions weekend. She was beaten possibly by the draw. Vera Secret ran out a good winner that day in the 1 mile fillies handicap. And I thought she made a really nice comeback behind Tokenomics. Was just outpaced over at 7 furlongs. Returns to a mile off the same mark, 85. Shane Foley rides. I think she'll get 10 furlongs this season, but a mile's fine for now. I'd fancy her to go fairly close here, but who do you like, Doc?
I really like her as well, Andy. And
right, okay.
She's also going to be the third leg of the Turn the Corner treble.
Turn the Corner treble.
See the Boss, Hot as Hell, and Serialize. Now, I do really like her. 7 furlong winner off 80 on Good to Fair Ground. Like, you think she'll get 10?
I think she'll get 10 in time, yeah.
Yeah. No, well then I'm not overly concerned about the mile. It's just a stable form. I'll take one more in it, just because we're still unsure about stable form. Slave Binion,
the one below it. Okay.
Yeah, look, 5-year-old, third to Aperky, who I mentioned earlier back in April. Definitely better on the all-weather. Was a winner off 85 on the all-weather. Is rated higher on the all-weather. I'd be just a little bit concerned this could be on the sharp side as well, but in here off 84, I think he could run a big race. But yeah, look, I'm hoping the stable has turned the form and we can rattle off this treble, see the Boss, Hot as Hell, and Serialize.
Well, you'll have listeners backing it anyway for sure. So Serialize almost not the top material, funny enough, coming in the mile of handicap, probably the biggest minefield on the whole bloody card. What else would we be doing? The Quinn Bet handicap, it's not emeralds. There's nothing emerald about a 7 furlong race, I suppose. Right, we got again 21 runners. There's a little nugget here, and there's no proof behind this. This is more so when Tap says hurdle form back into bumpers. If you see a filly or a mare that's very, very lightly raced and they're back for their 4 or 5 year old season, it's usually because the owner or the trainer thinks that they can improve them, thus enhancing their stud value. So that's just my personal opinion. So I'm a candy girl there off 74 for Joseph O'Brien. You've actually a few in here, to be honest with you, just for one day in there as well, down towards the bottom, and Penny Mountain, Anthony Mullins too. So there are quite a few, but the one that I actually am going to tip, and it's another one. So there was actually 4 in the race. Was Marrakesh, Henry de Bromhead, a mare by Decorated Night, 5-year-old, only having her 4th start at the age of 5. Really good second at Gowan at 28-1 on her last start. Now it was heavy ground. She was a maiden winner at Gowan on good ground on her debut over 7. This is one I'd be confident enough about as well. Like they must think they could, get her up the ratings, and you don't want to say nick a bit of black type. They're a long way off, but that's usually what you have to think about with these mares, and that's the reason they do want to stay in training. So it'd be Marrakesh for myself, Dec. What about you?
Look, I was struggling with this race, Andy, and there was 2 that I came down on, but I'd be happy to follow you with Marrakesh. But well, what I was thinking anyway, Transcendent Glory was a winner off this mark last July. The jockey takes off 7. I don't think there was a claimer on him that last July. And Chicago Fireball, second over course and distance of higher marks last season. Disappointing the last 2 runs this season, but they weren't at the Curragh, and he does go really, really well at the Curragh. And it's hard to see him out of the places unless all the fillies fill the places.
All the unexposed fillies all over the shop. There is 4 of them in the race, but the one I'm going with is Marrakesh, who I would expect to be near favourite, to be honest with you, based on her run last time out and how unexposed she actually is. So the Murta duo for Dec and Marrakesh for myself. On to the 525 as we try to wrap this one up on Saturday. The Revamp Restoration and Conservation Handicap, another 7 furlong race. This time only 3 rolls just to make it that little bit harder. 11 runners, Dec. Who do you like here? Or do you have an opinion? It's a tough one.
Yeah, gone for a rider. The
might
try and shameful. Yeah, it's 7 furlong the sprint, is it?
It's a I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Funny enough, a full bare cheek is the dam of my mate Alfie. This is a half brother. Shameful.
Okay. Yeah, look, he stayed on well to win on debut over 6 furlongs. Probably outpaced over 7 on the all weather when he finished second. I think it was at Kempton. But this 7 furlongs at the Curragh is going to be completely different to the all weather at Kempton, and I think it'll really suit him. So yeah.
Fair enough. I'd gun to my head was maybe Jagged Edge for Dermot Well, Chris Hayes. Good winner last time out of Cork. I don't know if 90 is much of a gift though. He won the race in the manner of a nice horse, but it was soft ground. 90 opening mark was enough to kind of make me think twice. If there was a gun to my head, as I said, he'd be my pick, but I'd be following Dec in on Shameful there, guys, if you were going to have a punt in the 525. And finally, I know, desperate. Probably a tip in itself if it's coming over for a handicap, but anyway, that isn't even a Premier one. I think
like that three-year-old handicap is. They thought it was a little bit odd.
Yeah. Well, George said at the top of the show that Crosshaven was a horse to keep an eye on. As I said, he was in the 2,000 guineas until last week, and they have booked Colin Keane for the ride on his debut, the colt by Cable Bay. He's in here for the maiden. I would imagine Esheran, who was second on his debut, or Propose, who was second last time out, like they're probably 2 nice horses who will be winning races. Do you have an opinion on the maiden, Nick?
No, I was actually, I looked at it, I had no opinion on anything, and I was looking forward to hearing what George had to say. So, yeah, all in on Crosshaven. See the Crosshaven.
Yeah, they say obviously he's a nice horse. Clearly, if they, as I said, kept him in the Guineas until last week as an unraced 3-year-old, and they've gone to the trouble of booking Colin Keane for his debut.
And he said it is the horse to follow for the season.
Yeah, so yeah, there's, if it's not today, he's clearly a nice horse. Yeah, you would have thought. Right, Dec, we'll move quickly on to the Sunday. We're working without declarations for this portion of the show. We're only going to cover the group races as well, unless Dec has anything else that he fancies for the Sunday. My hunch is he doesn't, but we'll see. The Marble Hill Group 3 to start with. This is loaded. All the 2-year-olds that have kind of turned heads are kind of showing up here. Dec, where are we starting here? Albert Einstein, or possibly the horse who I thought was extremely impressive there, was 3 weeks ago, I think. The Joseph O'Brien horse, and Andab.
Yeah, we go with that.
Andab.
Yeah,
Andab.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very good. That is the full brother to Victoria Road, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf for Aidan O'Brien a few years ago. We'll see what's declared. I would imagine Albert Einstein will be declared, as will Andab. Evening Blues has done very little wrong. He's running 2 very hot maidens. Gave Albert Einstein a nice race the last day. I'd say they're 2 very smart colts. Those 2 racing each other is possibly better form than what Andab showed, but the way he hit the line, and given the likely price he's going to be, because Aidan O'Brien hyped up Albert Einstein in the stable tour, I think in like March. He could be a stupid price, and Andad is no mug, so I might take a little chance on him. The 2:30 then deck is the Lamwade Stud Stakes Group 2 for the fillies and mares over a mile. Porta Fortuna set to possibly return here, giving away £3, and giving away £3 to the field. Not a bad race though. One look in here as well. Chances for Willie McCreary. Blue Drum, I don't know what the hell happened to her on her reappearance. I fancied her to possibly win that day, and I don't know what the hell happened. Burton Azada, a filly that I have put up last year as one to follow, but kind of disappointed me, to be brutally honest. Have you any fancy here?
Look, if all is well, Porta Fortuna wins this and probably wins it well. Very, very tough filly. What we talked about forgiving runs in France, you can certainly forgive them in the States, particularly at Del Mar, where she was beaten on her last run at the Breeders' Cup. She's well clear. She £10 clear of her nearest rival.
Yeah, it's you'd be disappointed, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd be disappointed if she was beat.
You would, and if she was beat, you'd have to wonder, has that tough season last year just left its mark on her? If there was one I was going to take her on with, which I just wouldn't be really brave enough to do. I'd rather just watch this race and hope that we get another season ever. She went to the well a lot last year. She's gutsy. It would probably be One Luck, who's, she won the Golf Million on debut, and I thought she looked like she could be coming back to fulfill that potential she showed when she won that the last day. There could be some more improvement in her, and look, maybe her to follow her home, but I'd just be hoping Porta Fortuna can give us another season like she did last year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know. I think Paddy Toomey may have just endured a tough season. Like, he lost a lot of his stable stars last year to injury. I think it was maybe just a lot of bad luck. Like, he had a good season, don't get me wrong, but like, it wasn't as good as 2 or 3 years ago. Possibly just a bit unfortunate. One Luck, I think she'd have a chance to pick up the pieces. Vera's Secret, who they obviously had her razor sharp and ready to go. She was impressive in making all the running at Leopardstown 2 weeks ago, beating Fiery Lucy. They knew what they had that day. James Fain, good trainer. I'd say they're going to fire her out from the front and try and really make this a test. So if there's any chinks in Porta Fortuna's fitness, Vera's Secret will kind of try and pull it out of her. But as we said, she's a perennial grade 1 performer. Like, you'd expect her to still go and win this, I think. And
like, she's £10 clear of her nearest rival, and she's only to give away £3.
Yeah, it is. It's she's
she
hard to
win it unless she's given up the game.
Yeah, which you never know. They can become L1s overnight, these fillies. Right, the Tattersalls Gold Cup, 10 furlongs. We heard the thoughts of George Murphy. He's very happy with how White Birch just came along. And he's 11-4 to win this. Los Angeles is your 9-4 favourite. As we said, we are working without declarations. An old favourite of mine, I see Continuous is in here. I've probably lost faith at this stage. He just doesn't look like the horse I thought he was going to be. Was pretty poor behind Rebels Romance in the Yorkshire Cup last time out as well. So I wouldn't imagine he's going to run here either. Could see the return of Deep One, speaking about Paddy Toomey's horses, missing all of last year. Ghost Rider still needs to learn how to settle. Very, very capable on his day, though. It's hard to kind of get away from White Birch and Los Angeles. Kalpana, obviously, in here, very talented filly, but she has not had a run yet this season. Group 1 winner to cap off her season last year at Ascot. A meeting that I know you basically say doesn't count, given that the ground it's run on. She could definitely win more Group 1s this year, but I can't see her beating Los Angeles or White Birch, given that they now have a fitness edge. I have it between either of them, Dec. I think there's going to be maybe a neck between them at the line. It might even just depend on who breaks better, who gets the better track position. It could be Colin Keane versus Ryan Moore really here at the end of the day. Who do you fancy?
look, George told us White Birch took a blow the last day. He's going to come on. Look, there's every chance that Sanchez took a blow as well. It's his first run of the season, but we haven't seen White Birch for a year, or well, nearly.
Essentially, just shy of a year, yeah.
You know my thoughts on the horse, Andy. I know your thoughts on him. I backed him in the Epsom Derby. I've always liked him. Oh, yeah, just what's that one you do? The SB second favourite and White Birch to win the Arc in a double.
That'd be the plan. Yeah, assuming he is, I'd imagine. I think they're going to come for Los Angeles. I like, if you fancy him, I could see him ending up 5-4, 6-4 easily.
I don't think White Birch can go off favourite.
No,
above Los Angeles. No, not a hope. No, it just doesn't. It can't happen. Like, and is
with the Arc, is that?
No. In this race, like.
Oh, really? Okay, I could see them really piling into him now.
Into who?
Into Los Angeles. I could see him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. White Birch can't go off favourite.
No. Yeah.
Los Angeles goes off favourite. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to sit back and watch this race. I'd love to see White Birch go and win it. There's very little between them. Like, they're both rated 121. They're both carrying 9 stone 5. I don't think either Colin Keane or Ryan would have gone for the kitchen sink the last day, and there was a neck between them. I'd be surprised if there was more than a neck between them again. I really am. I think it's a coin flip. If you're a coin flip merchant, you know, you're getting 11 to, well, you're not, it can't be a coin flip obviously with all the runners in it, but you've 9-4 on one, 11-4 on the other. So I'd probably go with the bigger price, which would be White Birch, but I'm going to just sit back and watch this.
I know. On George's comments, I fancy White Birch. Like, Aiden hasn't come on with us tonight and said, Los Angeles got to improve the run.
Yeah, listen, we're all delighted. Yeah, we're all delighted. Yeah,
we've inside info here. So
we'd only just you
get about who's delighted. You use it, don't you? So
that's it. So Crosshaven and White Birch have the lot on. Right, onto the 1,000 guineas to round this off, Dec.
And we've actually timed to have to turn the corner treble money winnings on the what we call it
on the Murphy double, I suppose. On the Murphy, yeah. So turn the corner treble. We're going to have to turn the corner treble and the Murphy double and turn it into a Canadian.
Yeah,
whatever works.
But you'll have prices for them all, actually.
You have prices for them all, yeah.
You have prices for them all, yeah. So,
there you go. That's what we're here for.
Weekend.
So we've got the 1,000 guineas. Another a race that looks very, very strong. Your favourite at the moment is Lake Victoria, 5-4. Wasn't very good in the 1,000 guineas, but Aidan stressed that she needed to run. Given her form last year, she should be quite hard to beat. We've got Simmering in here as well for Ollie Sangster, who had a really good 2-year-old campaign. Was just touched off by Lake Victoria in the Moigler, in there at 6-1. Swelter, out of Hot Snap, great filly as well, from the Jubmont family. 4-1 second in, Guineas trial winner. We have Exactly, who I thought ran quite well in the French Guineas. I think she was 4th, beaten about a length. I'd say she's possibly overpriced at 12-1 if she runs. City of Memphis, the once raced filly for Paddy Toomey, 14-1. Bedtime Story, who you called to a T. Looks like we've seen the best of her. Who do you like?
Look, Flight was second at Newmarket. You could argue that's the one that sets the standard here, but you know, if Jesse Stable hasn't turned the corner, I think we could have they've done like a double, because I do like Estilla.
Right, okay.
Yeah, Group 3 winner here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's 2 from 2. She won her maiden at Belliostown. Won the Group 3 here. She had Cercine held, and look, there's nothing to suggest that she doesn't have a great chance, and I'd say you're going to get a nice enough price about her. So do we have prices for this?
14s at the minute, Australia, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like that now in a double with Comanche Brave in the 2000.
There you go.
No, look, I think this race is quite winnable. You know what fillies can be like, but she's 2 from 2. I thought she was quite good the last day. I liked what I seen. I know her maiden win was only at Bellewstown, but like I'm looking through it, and there's holes to be picked in them all, really.
Yeah, no, there is. I'd say.
Is she the only unbeaten filly in the race?
Well, City of Memphis has once raced and won. And Swelter is undefeated. She was a Guineas trial winner at Leopardstown nearly 2 months ago. She was very impressive that day, actually. I was up there.
Yeah. She was, yeah. But no, look, I like the way she went about it at the Curragh racing. So if the turn the corner treble lets us down, so we'll have a little Stevie on the Donegal double.
And the turn the corner treble, Donegal double, and the Murphy double. There you go. So I'm gonna side with Swelter.
These into a Super Venezuelan.
Yeah,
you'll just have 2 in the 2000 Guineas.
Yeah,
there's your Super Venezuelan for the weekend.
Very good. I'm going to stick with Swelter. I thought Exactly would have a decent chance, but she is probably held by Swelter, who, as I said, one of 3 unbeaten fillies currently still in the race. 4-1 at the minute. That'll do me. But hopefully it's a prosperous Saturday and Sunday. Any other bets across the Friday or the Sunday then, Dec, or are they left for online Twitter?
No. Do you not think I've looked at enough races?
Yeah, I've got you here for an hour and 16 minutes, which is probably about 40 minutes more than you bargained for at the top of the show. But I've thoroughly enjoyed this one. Actually,
down for another week now.
You started popping off on John Gosden, which is going to cost you a week of your life probably. What can you do? A great card. Nap at the Tap is it fair to say it's probably serialized in the 4:15 on Saturday? Or would you be, unless you want to nap Crosshaven as an unraced 3-year-old in the maiden?
No,
George Murphy said to follow it for the season.
No, it wouldn't be that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Shameful. Have we got Shameful?
Shameful, yeah. I didn't go with Shameful in the end. I went with I actually end up with Jagged Edge. I could see Shameful probably. I definitely give a chance to.
We're probably looking at serialized,
serialized, I'd say, 100%. Right, so serialized and Nap at the Tap. Look, a lot of you guys who probably listen, you probably don't subscribe or follow us on Spotify. It's free to do, and it's very simple to do. It costs you nothing, but it just gets our name out there that little bit more. So if you could press those buttons on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you look, it would be very much appreciated.
And if you're down to Boozer this weekend, let people know if they want to bet in the sunshine this summer. They're listening to us. We probably won't be around as much as we are during the winter, but surprisingly, we had a couple of winners on the last podcast, and that covered a lot of flat races. So we're still putting the work in when we find the time. We're like everyone else. We're busy during the summer. You have things to do. You have other people to give your time to, but we're still putting the effort in when we can, and boy, jeez, a lot of effort went in tonight now.
I'd say, you were sweating to reach it.
Another 7-4 handicap. So let people, if you enjoy it, let people know about us, and thanks very much for keep tuning in, and we'll keep say hello when we see it, and keep dropping us the comments, and
we'll keep
going. The airs, obviously.
That's it. And before I let you go, you're not going racing this weekend, Dec? No, probably not.
No, there's just like I tell you, the amount of bleeding communions and confirmations, there's prisons.
What, you just say you're going racing? Everyone's dying, are they?
Going racing, but I don't think I'll make it racing. But I'll be in Limerick next Thursday. Fingers crossed.
What has you down there? No, Very good. Right. Well, we'll leave it at that. That was Tap 105. A lot of fun. We'll be back for Tap 106 relatively soon. Just keep our Twitter channel.
We probably have to do that Tuesday night, will we?
We probably will. You probably will end up doing Limerick. Why not?
Or Limerick.
Yeah, absolutely. But until then, guys, all the best, and a very big thank you as well for George Murphy for giving up some of his time to talk about White Birch and his yard. Really appreciate it.
For basically telling us that White Birch wins the yard. That's what you want on.
Yeah. Crosshaven wins a lot. And he also mentioned Maestro Mark, an unraced 3-year-old that just keep an eye on. Yeah. Right. Well, all the best, guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers.